The Girl with the Evil Mirror. In a small Igbo village named Umuaka, a young girl named Adaku lived quietly with her family. She was known for her beauty and gentle spirit, but one day her life changed when she found a strange mirror hidden under an old tree near the river. The mirror was small, with a dark, ornate frame covered in strange symbols, and Adaku was drawn to its mysterious pull. As she gazed into the mirror, Adaku felt an odd sensation. Her reflection seemed normal at first, but then her eyes in the mirror darkened, and her reflection began to whisper secrets. The voice promised her strength, wisdom, and power beyond her dreams. But it came at a price. Curious yet afraid, Adaku took the mirror home and kept it hidden in her room. Over the next few days, the mirror began to affect Adaku in ways she couldn't understand. She became stronger, braver, and began to act differently. But her family noticed changes that worried them. She seemed distant, and her laughter had turned to cold silence. Her mother, Neka, prayed every night, suspecting something was wrong, yet not knowing what. One night, Adaku's little brother, Emeka, found the mirror in her room. He held it up to see his own reflection, but he screamed and dropped it, his eyes filled with terror. He swore he saw a different version of Adaku, one with a twisted smile and piercing, unnatural eyes. Neka grew more afraid, but Adaku became defensive, refusing to give up the mirror. The village elders, sensing a disturbance, gathered and performed a ritual to uncover the truth. They found that the mirror was cursed, created by an ancient spirit who thrived on chaos and suffering. It fed off the energy of those who looked into it, promising them power but stealing their souls bit by bit. In a battle for her own soul, Adaku struggled to break free from the mirror's grip. She knew she had to destroy it, but the mirror's power over her was growing. In a climactic moment, with the help of her mother and the elders, Adaku found the strength to smash the mirror. When it shattered, a dark mist rose and vanished into the air, and Adaku felt a weight lift from her heart. As the curse lifted, the village celebrated. Adaku learned that true strength came from within, and that some gifts come with hidden traps. The mirror was gone, but the memory remained, a reminder of the power of unseen forces and the bravery it takes to resist them. The village of Umuaka returned to its peaceful rhythm after the mirror was destroyed, but Adaku struggled with memories of its whispers. Some nights, she'd wake from nightmares, hearing the faint echo of her own voice from the mirror's twisted promises. Her mother, Neka, continued to comfort her, assuring her that the mirror's curse was broken. Yet, Adaku couldn't shake the feeling that some part of its influence lingered in her heart. One evening, Adaku and her best friend, Amara, walked by the river where she'd first found the mirror. Amara was one of the few people who knew about what had happened. She'd stood by Adaku when others had whispered that she'd been possessed. The two girls sat by the riverbank, watching the moonlight dance on the water. "Do you ever wonder why it chose you?" Amara asked, breaking the silence. Adaku sighed, pulling her knees close to her chest. "Sometimes I wonder if it saw something dark in me. Maybe that's why it found me, or maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time." "But you fought it," Amara said, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Not everyone could do that. The elders say you're strong, Adaku." Yet, as Amara spoke, Adaku felt a cold breeze brush against her cheek, carrying a faint, familiar whisper. "You'll never be free." Startled, she looked around, but there was no one there. The river flowed quietly, and the forest around them was still. Amara noticed her shiver and squeezed her hand reassuringly. They decided to return to the village, but Adaku couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed them back from the mirror's shadow. Over the next few days, strange things began happening in the village. Crops that had been healthy suddenly withered, and livestock fell ill without explanation. The villagers became uneasy, remembering how the curse had taken hold of Adaku. A few even whispered that perhaps the curse was not fully broken. One night, as Adaku slept, a faint light glowed from her wardrobe. She awoke to see a shimmering image of the mirror hovering like a ghostly shadow in the corner of her room. Her heart pounded and she wanted to scream, but the words caught in her throat. The reflection in the mirror was her own, but once again her eyes were dark and the reflection's lips curled into a menacing smile. "Why do you resist?" the reflection whispered. "I gave you power. I made you stronger. You could have had it all." Adaku clenched her fists, trying to summon the courage she'd had when she shattered the mirror. "Leave me alone. I broke you. You have no power here." The reflection only laughed, a chilling sound that echoed in her room. "Did you really think a curse can be broken so easily?" Just then, Neka rushed into the room, drawn by the sound of Adaku's voice. She saw her daughter staring into nothing, her face pale. With fierce determination, Neka began to chant prayers, filling the room with words of protection. The dark reflection faded, leaving Adaku trembling, but Neka knew that this evil could not be banished by prayers alone. The next day, Neka went to the village chief and the elders. They gathered around a fire, deciding that it was time to seek help from Eze Madu, a powerful priest known for his knowledge of dark curses. The journey to his shrine was long and dangerous, but Neka and Adaku made it with the elders by their side. Eze Madu listened carefully as Adaku explained her encounter with the cursed mirror. He closed his eyes, muttering ancient words, and then opened them, his gaze piercing. "The mirror may be gone, but the spirit attached to it still clings to you. It chose you, Adaku, because it saw something it desired, your strength, your soul. It feeds on fear and doubt. You must face it once more if you want to be free." The priest prepared a potion made from rare herbs, and he gave it to Adaku. "Drink this tonight, and you will enter the spirit world where the curse lies hidden. There you must face the spirit and reject it once and for all. But be warned, Adaku. If you fail, it will consume you entirely." That night, Adaku lay on a mat in Eze Mamadu's shrine, surrounded by her mother, Amara, and the village elders, who chanted protective songs. As she drank the potion, her vision blurred, and she felt herself slipping away from the physical world. Suddenly, she was standing in a dark forest, the air heavy with a strange fog. In the middle of the forest, she saw the mirror, whole again, waiting for her. The reflection within it beckoned her closer, and this time it wasn't smiling. "Why do you fight me, Adaku?" it asked, its voice like nails scraping on metal. "Together we could be powerful. Your people would respect you, even fear you. You'd be unstoppable." Adaku took a deep breath, her heart steady. "No," she said firmly. "I don't need power from a curse. I want peace. I want my life back." The spirit in the mirror snarled, its face twisting with anger. "Then you will be nothing," it shrieked, reaching out of the mirror like a shadowy hand. Summoning all her courage, Adaku remembered her mother's words, the elders' chants, and her own strength. She reached deep within herself, focusing on her will to live freely and fully. "Be gone," she shouted, her voice echoing in the darkness. A brilliant light erupted from her, filling the forest. The mirror cracked and shattered into countless pieces, each one dissolving into smoke. The spirit let out a final, angry scream before it vanished completely. Adaku felt herself returning to her body, the warmth of her mother's hand comforting her as she woke. The curse was truly broken, and for the first time since finding the mirror, Adaku felt completely at peace. The villagers celebrated her return, grateful that she had rid their home of the dark curse. Adaku knew she would never forget the horrors she had faced, but she had learned something powerful. True strength didn't come from supernatural forces or dark promises. It came from within her own heart, from love, and from the courage to stand up against even the darkest evils. And as the moon rose over Umuaka that night, Adaku knew she was finally free.